Welcome back. All right, we're going to talk about the Philadelphia Flyers and their playoff history between 1999-2000 and 2020-2021, which is right here. And the interesting thing is they were pretty consistently in the playoffs. They had one miss here, a miss down here, but they generally were pretty good. And then in recent years, it's been feast, famine, feast, famine. Now, the one famine that's continued throughout is that Stanley Cup drought since 1975. They have been close. 1987 comes to mind. 2010 was a pretty darn amazing run for a team that didn't really have a starting goaltender at that stage. And yeah, this is a team that's gone through a lot of goaltenders from 2000 until now, and that's something that we can discuss another time. I did do a whole playlist once on the goaltending histories of every team. So for anybody who hasn't checked that out, it is interesting because there are certain teams, Philadelphia included, who've been through a number of goaltenders, especially in recent years. So, the 1999-2000 season for the Philadelphia Flyers, 45-22-12-3. And this was a team that still felt like they were close to maybe winning a Stanley Cup. There was usually Lindros drama related to concussions, and eventually he leaves the team. But they were pretty good that year. And in round 1, they took out Buffalo in 5. In round 2, they took out Pittsburgh in 6. And then in the conference finals, they lose to New Jersey Devils in 7. The Devils, of course, went on to win the Stanley Cup that year. The top scorer for Philadelphia that year was Mark Recchi, 82 games, 28 goals, 63 assists, 91 points. In 16 playoff games, he had 6 goals and 12 assists. Very good playoff performer, Mark Recchi. 2000-2001, they finished 43, 25, 11, and 3. They lose in the first round against Buffalo in 6 games. Mark Recchi's the leading scorer again. 69 games, 27 goals, 50 assists, 77 points. In 6 playoff games, he records 2 goals and 2 assists. So Recchi, pretty predictable, pretty reliable, and overall, the Flyers are pretty good. That continues in 2001-2002. They go 42, 27, 10, and 3, but in the first round, they lose against Ottawa in 5 games. Jeremy Roenick is the leading scorer that year. 75 games, 21 goals, 46 assists, 67 points. In the playoffs, he plays 5 games and records 0 points. 2002-2003, they finished 45, 20, 13, and 4. In the first round, they take out Toronto in 7 games. In the second round, they lose to Ottawa in 6. And Roenick's the leading scorer again, 79 games, 27 goals, 32 assists, 59 points. In 13 playoff games, he records 3 goals and 5 assists for 8 points. But Roenick would move on from Philly. And the Flyers kept rolling. 2003-2004, they finished 40, 21, 15, and 6. So they only won 40 games. But when you get to the playoffs, if you're Philly, that's fine. Round 1, they took out New Jersey in 5. Round 2, they took out Toronto in 6. So they take out Toronto in back-to-back years. And then they lost in the conference finals against Tampa in 7 games. Recchi's the leading scorer in 82 games, 26 goals, 49 assists for 75 points. In 18 playoff games, he records 4 goals and 2 assists. So Recchi, leading scorer, again. Last time he would be the leading scorer for the Philadelphia Flyers. So we have the lockout wiped out season of 04-05, right? We move on to 05-06. They finished 45, 26, and 11. And they're in the playoffs, but they lose in the first round against Buffalo. And they lose that series in 6. Simon Gagne leads them in scoring that year, 72 games, 47 goals, 32 assists, 79 points. And in 6 playoff games, 3 goals, 1 assist, 4 points. 2006-2007, they fall out of the playoffs, and in dramatic fashion, 22, 48, and 12. No playoffs, obviously. Gagne's the leading scorer again, 76 games, 41 goals, 27 assists, 68 points. Gagne, one of the better goal scorers at that stage in the NHL. 2007-2008, they finished 42, 29, and 11. In round 1, they beat Washington in 7 games. In round 2, they beat Montreal in 5. And they've been the bane of the existence of Montreal, too, a little bit over this past 20 years. They lose in the conference final against Pittsburgh in 5 games. Mike Richards, their leading scorer, 73 games, 28 goals, 47 assists, 75 points. In 17 playoff games, he records 7 goals and 7 assists for 14 points. So 2008-2009, they finished 44, 27, and 11. A little bit better record, but in the first round, Pittsburgh's waiting for them, and Pittsburgh takes them out in 6. Jeff Carter's the leading scorer that year in 82 games, 46 goals, 38 assists, 84 points. In 6 playoff games, a single goal recorded by Jeff Carter. So 2009-2010, they finished 41, 35, and 6. This was a year where they finished, I believe it was 18th overall in the NHL. They took a run to the Stanley Cup final. Yes, they did. Round 1, they beat New Jersey in 5 in what was a huge upset. Then they beat Boston in round 2 in 7. A series they trailed 3-0. They won it in 7. Conference final, they beat Montreal in 5. So again, they take Montreal out. And Mike Richards, the leading scorer for a team that loses to Chicago in the finals in 6 games. Richards, 82 games, 31 goals, 31 assists, 62 points. In 23 playoff games, 7 goals, 16 assists. And what is interesting is the goaltending in that 2010 run, where it's like, oh, Michael Layton's in, and Michael Layton gets a win. It was bizarre to watch. It was kind of fun, and it started this conversation about how maybe you don't have to spend money on goaltending. Look what Philly did. It's a conversation that wouldn't go very far. It's a conversation that within a couple of years had gone away, but it was very real during that 2010 run. 2010-2011, they finished 47, 23, and 12. In the first round, they beat Buffalo in 7. And then they lost to Boston in 4 in the next round. So Boston, in response to that 3-0 comeback against them, they sweep Philadelphia on their way to a Stanley Cup. Claude Giroux leads Philadelphia in scoring, 82 games, 25 goals, 51 assists, 76 points. In 11 playoff games, he records 1 goal and 11 assists. 2011-2012, they finished 47, 26, and 9. This is a team now that's very reliable, but that reliability is going to change to predictability. So, after going 47, 26, and 9, they beat Pittsburgh in the first round in 6. Huge victory for the Flyers. And then in the second round, they lost to New Jersey in 5. So New Jersey takes them out for the second time in this century, depending on where you see the century ending, whether it's 99 or 2000. But Giroux leads them in scoring, 77 games, 28 goals, 65 assists, 93 points. In the playoffs, he plays 10 games, 8 goals, 9 assists for 17 points for Claude Giroux. So 2012-2013 happens, and this is where it gets weird. Philadelphia misses the playoffs every other year. They make the playoffs every other year. They haven't missed the playoffs in back-to-back years at all. It is this bizarre thing, and I really thought we would break that pattern in 2021, and we didn't. So 2012-2013, a lockout shortened season. They finished 23, 22, and 3. No playoffs. Claude Giroux leads them in scoring. 48 games, 13 goals, 35 assists, 48 points. But 2013-2014, it's an odd-numbered year, so they make the playoffs. They go 42, 30, and 10. They lose in the first round against the Rangers in 7. Claude Giroux, 82 games, 28 goals, 58 assists to lead them in scoring with 86 points. And in 7 playoff games, 2 goals and 4 assists. Then they fall right back out of the playoffs in 2014-2015 because it ends in an odd year. 33, 31, and 18 for no playoffs. Voracek leads them in scoring. 82 games, 22 goals, 59 assists, 81 points. So 2015-2016, it's an even-numbered year, so they make the playoffs. 41, 27, and 14. They lost in the first round against Washington in 6. Claude Giroux leads them in scoring again. 78 games, 22 goals, 45 assists, 67 points. But in 6 playoff games, he only records 1 assist. 2016-2017, well, that ends in an even or an odd number, so no playoffs. 39, 33, and 10 that season. Voracek leads them in scoring again. 82 games, 20 goals, 41 assists, 61 points. 2017-2018, well, that ends in an odd-numbered year, so Philadelphia makes the playoffs at 42, 26, and 14. We're all going to act surprised when they make the playoffs this coming year. They lost in the first round of Pittsburgh in 6. Giroux leads them in scoring, probably his best season. 82 games, 34 goals, 68 assists, 102 points. In the playoffs, 6 games played, 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points. 2018-2019, well, that ends in an odd number, so they don't make the playoffs. They finished 37, 37, and 8 to miss the playoffs. Claude Giroux, 82 games, 22 goals, 63 assists, 85 points. 2019-2020 ends in an even number, So they make the playoffs. 41-21-7. I thought that was the best season they'd had in a very long time, and I thought, okay, so they'll be prolonged excellence. Nope. But they win in the first round against Montreal in 6, and in the second round they lost to the Islanders in 7. But it was fun to watch. It was like, all right, Philly's got things coming together. Konechny leads them in scoring, 66 games, 24 goals, 37 assists for 61 points. In 16 playoff games, he records 7 assists. All right, so everything's working out pretty well then for him and for the team and everybody. And then 2020-2021, they missed the playoffs because it ends in an odd number. 25-23-8 for no playoffs. James Van Riemsdyk leads them in scoring, which still feels weird. But in 56 games, he has 17 goals, 26 assists for 43 points. It is bizarre. It is bizarre to look at this team and see miss, make it, miss, make it, miss, make it, miss, make it, missed. So this year they make it. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll be a full decade of this in, out, in. Actually, if you look at 2011-2012, we're up to a full decade of they make the playoffs in even-numbered years and they miss the playoffs in odd-numbered years. And it's one of those things that just defies any kind of reasonable explanation to it, because there are years they missed the playoffs where they were good, just ended up missing the playoffs, and there were years they made the playoffs where I don't know how they were so much better necessarily in the years they missed, but that's how that works. Now, their all-time playoff wins leaders is interesting to look at because we've talked about which goalies have come through Philadelphia, right? Hextall leads this team in career playoff wins with 45. Bernie Parent, 35. Parent, he had the 2 Stanley Cups. Of course, we played fewer playoff games to get to that Stanley Cup than what we do now. And yeah, I mean, for him, the runs were a little bit different. And they usually employed both goaltenders a little more regularly than we might see now, especially with contenders and whatnot. Brian Boucher is third on the list with 21 wins. And then you got Robert Esch with 13. Pelle Lindbergh with 12 in his short career. Pete Peters, 11. Marty Biron, 11. Wayne Stevenson with 10. I'm thinking a couple of those, he got starts where he was paired with Parent. And then Carter Hart is there with 9. 9 career playoff wins. So it is interesting that Carter Hart is on the board at that level, and that if he wins, say, 2 series, so if he wins 8 games, suddenly he's 4th on the all-time list of playoff wins for Philadelphia. This is a tough team to predict, other than, will they make the playoffs this year? Sure. Why? I don't know. And I mean, I went out on a limb with my predictions this year that I'm predicting them not to make the playoffs, even though it's an even-numbered year. They'll make it. I just don't know how. But it'll definitely involve Carter Hart having to have a bounce back year and the defense to get better, which it could. A lot of moves were made in the offseason, but it's bizarre. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding the interesting track record and spotty track record of the Philadelphia Flyers, and yet oddly impressive as well. In the comment section below, don't forget to hit like and subscribe as well if you're just passing through. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I do intend to have this completely finished before the preseason starts, and the preseason starts on the 25th of September. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.